Yeah, so I have some problems. So, what happened? I did have a smoldering ember that could have turned into a fire. Tonight I had made some cuts into this piece that I am carving. It's going to be a future video here. It's a fairy on a mushroom, and I wanted to cut down here, and I thought I'd help myself out, and I ran this through the table saw. Just 4 relief cuts down here. And it was on end grain. I think my blade was a little dull, and I hadn't checked the cavity inside for a while for the amount of dust buildup in there. This is a Laguna saw, and one of the things I don't like about it is this. This is for the dust collection. So it's got a 4-inch port here, but it also has a 2.5-inch port. This one goes up to right underneath the saw blade, which is a good thing, but it takes up so much room of this 4-inch port that sawdust gets collected in the cavity here. And I had a lot of sawdust in there. I hadn't checked it in a while. That sawdust built up over time. I do have it hooked up to my dust collector, but sawdust, I think because of this, will over time, it gets kind of jammed in there, and then it doesn't collect the dust as well. I've ordered some parts. I'm going to separate this, and I'm going to cut a 2.5-inch hole down below so that that's separate. One of the cords running through the table saw also melted, and so bad that it created a short in there. So I've got to cut that out and rewire that. So I've got a lot of things I got to do to work on my table saw. Not really what I want to be doing, but I'll work on it and hopefully make it better so that the dust collection is better as well. All right, so the first thing I'm going to try and do is this is that housing that goes around the saw blade, and it started to melt. I think it's a thermoset plastic, so I'm hoping all I have to do is heat that up with a heat gun and then pry it open with a board or something. Okay, well, it's not pretty, but it should be functional. I was able to get the saw blade in there and it doesn't rub on anything. Down on this end, underneath, there's a 2.5-inch. That was deformed as well. I heated it up and I'm able to get the 2.5-inch hose that I bought around it. So now I've got this 4-inch port here. I'm going to put the 2.5-inch port up here coming from the saw blade itself, and then this is just in the cavity. So hopefully that'll make things work a little better. Should I say suck a little better? I don't know. All right, so I've got this hose hooked up to underneath the saw blade there, and then all the way down to where I just put that flange in. Okay, so now I want to cut out all of that inside, this part here. So I have a 4-inch, if I had just a 4-inch connector or flange, I would use it, but I'm gonna just use a Dremel bit. So this piece is on the side. It holds the miter thing, this thing. Words are hard. And the wrench and the riving knife. I really don't use it. I just store stuff off to the side. So, and there's lots of holes in here, so you lose some of the dust collection capabilities because of that. So what I did is I just have this thin piece of plywood, and I marked the holes, and then I happened to find some bolts with a handle already on it, which will work nicely. All right, now I'm going to focus my attention on this top, getting off all the sawdust. And everything I've seen online suggests WD-40, or at least most of them suggest WD-40 as the way to clean these surfaces. We'll see if that works on this soot residue. All right, let that sit for about a half hour. Come back. Now my plan is to use these scuff pads, starting with a medium, and working my way to more of a fine. I'm using more aggressive means here just because the soot is just really thick around here. I got 180 grit on here, and let's see how this goes. All right, that helped quite a bit. So now I'm going to move on to the more fine Scotch-Brite. I don't want to put too many divots in here or get this thing out of square. So a lot of elk grease. All right, now to protect it, putting on some auto wax. It's supposed to create a hard shell. So put this on, let it dry, and then buff it out. Got a microfiber cloth I'm using. Well, I've run the saw a few times, and it's hard to see, but there's a little bit of sawdust, but you can see where the line is there, where it's actually getting drawn out. You can see my ugly dust shroud here. I might order another one of those. We'll see how well this works. It's ugly, but it seems to be doing its job. I'm going to do a test here. I'm going to turn on the dust collection. And I just have a stick here with some paper towels cut on there, and you can see that there's a pretty good downdraft here. Now maybe you can't see that on there. I can feel a good downdraft. Maybe it works better if I look this way. Yeah, you can see how it's getting bent down in there. When I get in this area right here. So there's a pretty good downdraft here. And then back here, you can see how it is. Let me get a better view of that. Might not show up very well, but I can tell that there's a good amount of suction getting in there. And then go all the way down. Tell there's a good amount of air movement in there, and I can feel that. And here's what it looks like on the outside. So I've got I bought this connector here, 4-inch and a 2.5-inch there. So So I'm happy that I averted a total disaster with this, and I'm going to keep a better eye on the amount of wood chips that are in the cabinet of the table saw. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the support. More carving and woodworking videos coming up. Thanks.